Hello again, Irish fans, and welcome to this week's edition of The Brian Kelly Show. Notre Dame is 8-0 and ranked second in the country heading into this weekend's bye. An off weekend, Brian, that seems perfectly timed for this team.
Yeah, I think we got some good work done. Bring the guys in. We kind of kept the schedule as it is through most of the week and give them the back end of the week off. So it was a good week, productive. Focused on the academics. They're in exam week this week. So all in all, a good timing for the bye week.
You're coming off a win over Boston College, where I think this team showed off its superiority while not playing its best game. What does that say about this team, that it can control a game against quality competition when not necessarily playing up to its standard?
Yeah, it's an interesting observation. It depends, for me, how we play the game more so than what it looks like. And we played hard, we played physical. There was no, I think lethargy, if you will. Our focus needed to be a little bit better. Our communication needed to be a little bit better, and ball security. But our guys were playing fearless. It was physical out there. And BC knew they were in a physical football game. So, in some instances, those kind of games, although you'd hate to see them, I'd rather play that way than playing like we're sleepwalking out there and not interested. Those games are unacceptable. But this team wanted to play. They were physical. We just got to clean up those mistakes that you mentioned.
Now, like any season, there were numerous questions about your team in general and particular position groups before the season began. You are now undefeated and ranked second in the country, so just about all these questions have been answered at running back, receiver, linebacker, in the secondary. In your mind, are there any questions that remain to be answered?
Well, I think we're still, evolving, with the cornerback position. We're playing a true freshman quite a bit, Clarence Lewis. He's getting a lot of work. We're still evolving at the will linebacker or the buck linebacker position. We still have to, consistently work a rotation to get a pass rush. And obviously from our perspective, on the offensive side of the ball, continue to work guys into the rotation in the passing game. Braden Lindsey's been out. Kevin Austin got hurt. So getting Lindsey back into the mix, those are things that we want to obviously get to here in the next week or two as well to help our offense. So there are still some things out there for us that we need to get better and get them into the game, these individuals that I'm referring to as well.
Folks, we'll break down all the key plays from Notre Dame's 45-31 win at Boston College when we return after this timeout on The Brian Kelly Show, presented by TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying. It's time now for our game breakdown, brought to you by Canon. Brian, you began the BC game the way you always want to, taking the ball and scoring on your first possession. But as they always seem to do against Notre Dame, the Eagles counterpunch to take a 10-3 lead. But your team never flinched, even a bit.
Yeah, I think that's the, resolve that this team has shown. It showed it against Clemson. It showed it, in a number of situations. It's just who we are. It's how they're built. They're built different. They have great character, great resolve, and in that is a fact that they prepare hard. And in that preparation, it gives them a great deal of confidence that they're going to be able to translate that onto the playing field.
Now, I thought one of the key points in the game was the defense actually backing BC up 6 yards after your fumble on your own 19-yard line, forcing the Eagles to settle for a field goal.
The defense did a great job there in a sudden change situation, and I think it really changed the momentum of the game.
Ian Book then leads you right down the field to tie the game, running the ball once for 12 yards and completing all 5 of his passes on the drive. The final one, the 10-yard touchdown toss to Ben Skoranek.
Yeah, I thought it was a very good drive, a great response, actually, more than anything else, after the fumble for the offense to come right back. And after we gave up 3, we trade that with 7, and Ben is a guy that can go up and get the football.
Now, after BC retakes the lead at 13-10 with another field goal early in the second quarter, you answer with a 75-yard touchdown drive in just over 2 minutes to take the lead for good. The big play on the drive, a 48-yard pass to Avery Davis down to the 2. Avery has become a huge weapon for you.
He sure has. And I think he's explosive after the catch. I think that's what people are starting to realize, is that when he gets his hands on the football, he's got great speed. We always knew that. Now he's playing fast. It's the confidence that you have when you get the ball in your hands. And now when he touches the football, he's going for touchdowns. And it's a big part of our offense.
The go-ahead touchdown was scored by Sivo Flemister, who stepped in big time in the game, 53 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on 10 carries to earn the game ball.
Yeah, he's such a physical runner. He's so hard to tackle. He's low to the ground. He's squirming and spinning, and it's hard to get a good grasp of him. But he runs so hard. He's so physical, and our guys love blocking for him because he's never stopped. He keeps his feet moving. Even if you think you've got contact on him, he's going to find a way to twist and find the end zone, and that's what he did on this carry.
Now, your defense follows with a 3-and-out that was highlighted by one of the most athletic plays I have ever seen by a linebacker. The pass breakup by rover Jeremiah Owusu-Koromoa, who caught up to BC's fastest receiver, Jay Flowers, to knock the ball away.
Pretty outstanding play. We didn't necessarily want him in coverage on that situation. We were looking for some help, but didn't need help on that play. Made a great play.
You then march down the field again. The big plays, 2 passes to Javon McKinley for 27 yards, and then a 13-yard pass to Ben Skoranek for the touchdown to give you a 24-13 lead.
Yeah, and as you can tell in narrating the drives, we're getting contributions from a number of different players, and that's when your offense has great balance.
And you get the ball back with 2:09 left and get into the end zone again with 4 seconds left in the half, and the big play on the 49-yard drive, a 16-yard run up the middle by Book before he hits Ben Skoranek for the 3rd touchdown reception for Ben on the day.
Yeah, well, first of all, the run was a design read on the outside. If we got one-on-one matchup, we were going to take it. If they got double zone, we're going to run quarterback draw. Book got us in the quarterback draw. He had a nice 16-yard gain. And then the great matchup that we needed with Skoranek in the slot. Moved them around, got him closer to the ball, which got the nickel on him, and great throw by Book.
Now, if BC was going to have any chance of getting back into the game, they would have to score early in the second half, but your defense would have none of that. First stopping the Eagles on 4th and 1 at the Notre Dame 9.
It worked out really well. It was a great stop. Getting that stop really took a lot of the energy and momentum out of their sideline, and we were able to capitalize.
And I think the rest of that momentum was removed after an Irish turnover at the BC 39. You get the ball right back on a Jack Kaiser interception.
Yeah, I mean, we hit a big play down to Ben Skoranek in cover 2, and we're ready to score again, and we get stripped again. You talked about what we're going to work on. Ball security is going to be one of them, certainly. Jakovic throws it right to Kaiser, and he had a hard time holding on to it, but he falls on it, and we get the ball back, and now we're going to obviously turn it into a score.
So the Irish move to 8-0 on the season with their 45-31 victory over rival Boston College. Coach Kelly will break down a number of the biggest plays from the game in Chestnut Hill when we return on the Brian Kelly Show, presented by TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying.
Second and goal from the 13. Book was in trouble, got away again, finds his man Skoranek for a touchdown.
Coach, our final play this week occurred with 5:52 on the second quarter game clock on 2nd and goal for Notre Dame from the BC 13-yard line. Ian Book does a terrific job keeping the play alive and finding Ben Skoranek in the end zone for the duo's 2nd touchdown connection of the game.
Well, the primary here is on the backside, and that is the tight end and the running back coming out of the backfield. They're both covered well. Ian steps up, pulls out, backs out, and finds Ben Skoranek, who is the one-on-one individual on the opposite side. I'd like to say that we drew this one up, but nope, this is all Ian Book. He was shut down on one side, pulls out, knows that he's got Ben one-on-one on the other side, and just delivers a great play. That's a player making a play right there.
And that will do it for this week's Irish Intel segment. Next, Bill Rees will join me to give us a scouting report on the explosive North Carolina team the Irish will face on Thanksgiving Friday. That's coming up right after this quick timeout on the Brian Kelly Show, presented by TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Show, presented by the experts at TireRack.com. It's time now for our weekly segment with Notre Dame Director of Scouting, Bill REES. And Bill, Notre Dame has been having so much success on the field this season. Numerous Irish players are earning awards each week, and this week is no different. Following the win at Boston College, quarterback Ian Book, who in my humble opinion may have played the best game of his career against the Eagles, was named a Manning Award Star of the Week. He was named to the Davey O'Brien Award Grade 8 list for the third time this season, and was also awarded honorable mention status for the CFPA National Performer of the Week. Against North Carolina, Book completed 20 of 27 passes for 283 yards and 3 touchdowns, while rushing for 85 yards on 10 carries and another touchdown. Billy passed your son Tommy and moved into third place on Notre Dame's career passing yardage list, and Ian's quarterback rating of 198.8 was his best ever against a Power 5 school. Plus, I thought his on-field decision-making was as impressive as it's ever been in a game. Bill, your thoughts on how far Ian has come as a quarterback and how high is his ceiling?
You know, Ian is really playing well. He's playing with a great deal of confidence. And even as a fifth-year player, his understanding of the offense continues to grow. His understanding of how to attack defenses continues to grow. You know, he's always been very competitive, very instinctive, very accurate, very, very mobile. And he's bringing all of those qualities together. And it's fun to watch him because mentally and physically, he's really at the top of his game right now.
Defensive end Dalen Hayes also had another outstanding game against the Eagles with a tackle for loss and a fumble recovery. On the season, he is third on the team in tackles for loss with 6 to go with 3 sacks. His leadership on and off the field has earned Hayes the honor of being named one of 20 national semifinalists for the Jason Witten Collegiate Man of the Year Award, which honors college football student athletes who have demonstrated a record of leadership by exhibiting exceptional courage, integrity, and sportsmanship, both on and off the field. Bill, when you scout potential student athletes for Notre Dame, I know you are focusing on both their on-field abilities and off-field fit at the university, and Dalen appears to be excelling at both.
You know, Dalen's been a great story. He's an outstanding leader, not only within our team, within the locker room, but on campus, in the community. Came back for a 5th year after was injured last year. We were so excited that he did come back because, you know, we knew what he would bring to the team, the leadership and his on-the-field ability. But he's been outstanding the last, 3 or 4 weeks. He's really played well, playing with a lot of confidence. He's very strong, and he's really done a great job for us. Like I said, as a leader and the intangibles he brings to the football team as a captain.
He's getting a lot of attention this year as a leader for social change in society, but ever since he got on campus, he's been involved in so many community organizations like the Robinson Community Learning Center. How important is that aspect, that fit, that wider character to being successful as both a student and an athlete at Notre Dame?
You know, I think it's very important. I think that's what we look for when we recruit. We look for guys that have great balance, that, you know, understand what it's like to be a student at Notre Dame, what it's like to be an athlete at Notre Dame, and then what you're able to give back to the community. And I think that's something within our program that's emphasized, and the players take great pride in being able to give back.
2 other Irish players received recognition this week. Sean Crawford was named the ACC Defensive Back of the Week, and Tommy Kramer was named the ACC Offensive Lineman of the Week. Let's start with Sean Crawford, who has endured 3 season-ending injuries during his career, but has become a defensive leader for you at both cornerback and safety this season. And Saturday against BC, he led the Irish in tackles with 9, including a sack and 1.5 tackles for loss. Bill, in some ways, is Sean maybe exceeding expectations this season?
Well, he certainly defied some, really, tough injuries and has come back I think pound for pound might be our best football player. He's a guy that has great instincts. He's a guy you can really trust, whether it's in coverage, whether it's in support, whether it's coming off the edge, blitzing. He's always in the right spot at the right time. Not the biggest guy, but a guy that can make up for it with his instincts. He takes great angles to the ball, and he really gets people lined up. He's very, very intelligent.
Right guard Tommy Kramer helped the Irish dominate offensively against Boston College. Notre Dame had a season-high 561 yards of total offense against the Eagles, 278 of the yards on the ground. The Irish line also did not allow Ian Book to be sacked a single time on Saturday against a defense that had been averaging just under 3 sacks per game. And maybe one of the most important but sometimes overlooked stats for Notre Dame this year is the fact the Irish lead the ACC in time of possession at 34 minutes and 5 seconds per game. And the line and right guard Kramer is a big part of that. Bill, how have you seen Tommy grow at right guard over his 5 seasons at Notre Dame?
Tommy's really become a complete player. He's gotten to a point now where run, pass, he excels at both. He's pulling and getting out on the perimeter, very well. He's getting up to the second level, the block linebackers really well. And he's a powerful man inside. He's big, he's smart, he's tough. He's really been a mainstay. And, 2 years ago, he was our right tackle. So that shows that, athletically, he's done a nice job every time he's been asked to, whether it's right guard, right tackle, pull, pass protect. He's done a really nice job. And the time of possession really is indicative of how well we've run the ball and been able to, take time off the clock when we need to at the end of the games.
Bill, I think for everybody, just living life right now is exhausting, trying to deal with COVID-19. And that includes the football team, which has to be a lot more focused in a lot of just everyday aspects of life so that basically they don't get it and can keep playing. But what I think a lot of folks don't realize is this is exam week at Notre Dame, which means a full semester of classes has been jammed into a much shorter time period this fall, which means the players have had to deal with a more intense academic load than usual, in addition to preparing to play football. So with that in mind, how timely is this weekend's bye for this team?
Well, it comes at a great time. We've had 6 straight weeks of games, important games. We've been on the road traveling under, new protocols. So that's been different. And then the intensity of the exam week, you're studying very late at night, you're taking finals, you're trying to get to practice, to, get into your workouts in during the week. So it's a great deal of juggling and balance. And I know that the players will be happy once this week is over, and they can just concentrate on playing football. But, they have great support here. They really, take care of business, and the academic people here have been great in supporting them as they get ready for finals.
I would imagine that the little extra time is also coming in handy for you as you put together the scouting report for Notre Dame's next challenge, taking on an offensively explosive North Carolina team the day after Thanksgiving. Now, if Clemson is the top offensive team Notre Dame has played so far, where would you rank North Carolina?
Well, they are right there, and explosive is the right word to describe North Carolina because they have skill at every position. Quarterback Sam Howell is outstanding, started as a true freshman, has tremendous arm talent. And what's really been impressive is his decision-making, his poise. They were down by 3 touchdowns in the third quarter last week. He brought them back to win the game. But he is really running that offense as well as you could possibly ask a quarterback to do it. He has 2 outstanding running backs in Carter and Williams. They're a great duo, complement one another very well. Their stats are basically the same. I think they're averaging over 7 yards per carry. And then they have 2 wide receivers, Newsome and Brown, that both had over 1,000 yards in receptions last year, and they haven't missed the beat this year. And so they'll present a great deal of problems just, for any defense. And plus, when you look at their offensive line, it'll be the biggest offensive line we've seen. They've got, great length and great size. So offensively, they're no fluke. And, they're really explosive in every phase.
For the stat geeks out there, let me throw some stats at them. North Carolina is 5th in the country at yards per play at 7.4 yards every time they take a snap. They lead the conference, and they're 4th nationally in total offense at 563.4 yards per game. They're 2nd in the ACC in scoring at 43.1 points per game. And you mentioned quarterback Sam Howell. He leads the ACC in 8 different offensive categories. And that pair of running backs, Javonte Williams, he leads the ACC in rushing yards. And Michael Carter is 4th in the ACC in rushing yards. So there's the question. Brian Kelly earlier in the show acknowledged you're not going to stop them. They're going to move the football. They're going to score. What does the defense need to do to contain them, Bill?
Well, I think that's the right word. You're going to have to contain North Carolina. You can't let them burst and make big plays. It's a little bit like playing, the Golden State Warriors. They've got scorers everywhere. You're just going to have to take away some of the things that they do well and, which we've been able to do, against every opponent. But we'll have a really good game plan and it's good that we have a few extra days to prepare for them.
Now, they're giving up a ton of points on defense, but we talked a little bit before we started this segment. You see a lot of skill on the Carolina defense.
They really have some good athletic players defensively. And sometimes when you are so explosive on offense and you're going fast, it puts your defense out on the field a lot more than you would be, a normal, defensive snaps and defensive time of possession. But what I would say is, they have 2 really good corners that have been nicked up that have not played in a while. And if they can get them back after their bye week, which they're on this week as well, that'll really help their secondary because they've had injuries in the back end, and they've had some guys that have opted out. So if they can get some of those starters back at corner, that would obviously help them. And they have one of the best linebackers in the entire ACC in Sage Surratt. He was the starting quarterback in 2017 when we went to Chapel Hill to play them. So he's made the transition from quarterback to linebacker. He's about 6'3", 235, can really run. He leads the team in sacks. He's all over the field for him. And, he really, they funnel a lot of plays to him. And they've got, some good edge rushers to go with him. So, it's never easy against ACC opponents.
So, Bill, what are your keys to Notre Dame picking up win number 9 the day after Thanksgiving?
We're just going to have to continue to do what we do well, and that is, run the football, be balanced on offense, and defensively be opportunistic like we've been. We've done a great job, versus the run, and I would imagine that would continue as well, even though, Carolina has done a nice job running the ball. Defensively, we've been able to take away the opponent's strengths, and I would expect we'll continue to do that against North Carolina.
Bill, again, thank you for the time. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and I'll talk to you again on this wonderful technology of Zoom in a couple of weeks.
Sounds great, Jack. Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back with more on the Brian Kelly Show, presented by the experts at TireRack.com, right after this timeout. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Show. Normally, each week at this time, Coach Kelly reconnects with one of his former players who has graduated and left campus. Technically, he is doing that again tonight if you consider the brief period of time Hunter Bivens spent working in the financial world in Chicago in the summer of 2018 as leaving Notre Dame. Before that foray into financial consulting, Hunter battled through 3 heart surgeries during 5 years as an offensive lineman for the Irish, served an internship in the spring of 2018 under then Notre Dame Director of Player Development Ron Paulus, went to Chicago, came back to work for Paulus in the fall of 2018, and ended up moving into Paulus's role as Director of Player Development when Paulus moved up to become Associate Athletics Director for football. As you are about to discover during Bivens' conversation with Coach Kelly, Hunter plays a large role in helping Notre Dame's current players succeed off the field and in life.
I'm joined here with Hunter Bivens, our Director of Player Development. Hunter, how are you?
I'm well, Coach Kelly. How are you?
Good. Listen, I got to tell you, on this Zoom call, everybody has a different background, right? The background that you have are the 2 Notre Dame helmets that are behind you. It looks like you have antlers.
Yeah, 2 gold ones. Yeah, no, I got my practice one that's all scratched up. I probably use that one more than the other.
Well, that's where you hit it up against the wall, right? You know,
no doubt,
those scratches. But
just making it tough.
We know you as the Director of Player Development, but I want everybody to know that, when we do these calls, you are really the talent acquisition director, because you're the one that hooks up all of our former players and gets them on these. So you're really auditioning for a position in, I don't know, CAA or Athletes First,
No
or
doubt.
maybe Hollywood. But we appreciate all the work that you do and getting those guys for us each and every week. I'm sure it's not easy.
No, it's been great. I think this has been an awesome thing that you've done the last 2 years, getting the former players back on, catching up, see what they're doing, see how everything's going in the NFL, see where they're at in life. I think it's been great. It's been great for me to catch up with these guys and, get them on with you and hear the stories. It reminds me of, when I was here and some of those fun stories and things like that. Brings back a lot of fond memories. So it's been good. It's been fun, and we've had some good guests. Some better than others, but hopefully I can match up to them.
No doubt. Well, as a 2017 Notre Dame grad and somebody that obviously played for me here, you have your own stories to tell as well, and overcoming a lot in terms of personally, having 3 heart surgeries while you're here at Notre Dame and still, coming through some ups and downs, obviously personally, and overcoming all of that, and playing here and getting a degree at Notre Dame. What are some of the takeaways that you have from your time here at Notre Dame?
Yeah, it was an interesting story coming in. Like you said, I came from a rough background. I lost my dad when I was 14 to a heart attack. Came to Notre Dame as a top 100 recruit in the country. Had my own heart conditions, had 3 heart surgeries while I was here, came and started 1 game. So, I've seen a lot of adversity in my time, both as a player and in my personal life. And it's really segued into really allowing me to be able to do my current role and do my current job pretty effectively. Just having been through all those times of adversity and seen a lot of things and experienced and gotten through those tough times and being able to relate with guys who have similar backgrounds and come to Notre Dame from, not necessarily the best background that's conducive to being successful at Notre Dame, but, shedding some light on some of those tools and some of my experiences that helped me get through those times and ultimately be successful, earn my degree, and be where I am today. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun.
So what would you say, if any, are some of the central kind of issues that you run into with our players today that might be similar or different than your time here? Because, obviously kids change, priorities change. I know when you first got here, social media wasn't what it is today.
No doubt.
And certainly, where we are with COVID was certainly something that we didn't have to deal with back then. But what would you say are some of the things that are similar or dissimilar that you have to deal with in your role today that maybe you didn't think that you would have to deal with at Notre Dame?
Yeah, I think first off, something that's similar that I'm assuming has been the same since, Notre Dame football has been a thing, is just the standard that we talk about every day. And I think guys, have a somewhat of an understanding of that when they get here and through the recruiting process. And I know you and the coaches are very transparent about that. The academic rigor, you're going to be in person classes, you're going to live in the dorms, you're going to be held to the highest standard in all aspects of your life. You guys tell them that up front. But when they get here and the rubber meets the road and doing it on a daily basis, I think it's a rude awakening for a lot of guys. Not a rude awakening, but it's more relevant in their day-to-day life, and that grind and that those getting through those tough spots is something that you have to do every single day. And you really have to adopt that operational excellence, being on time, following through on your word, doing what you're supposed to do every single day, not only for yourself, but for the guys to the right and left of you. And that level of accountability, I think, is new and challenging for guys. And that was a challenge for me and my peers when I was coming through. And it was something that the older guys told us about that we didn't really understand until we got in the thick of it. But I think that's definitely something that's similar and something that'll remain similar. And that's just Notre Dame. But that's also what makes us great and what sets us apart, because it's not like that everywhere else. There's a lot of programs that win a lot of games. There's a lot of programs and schools that make really good grades, but there's not a lot of programs that do both and are able to succeed, in all aspects of life like our guys are. So that really sets us apart. Something that's different, no doubt, is like you mentioned, the social media aspect. I think Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff was just sort of starting to blossom when I was coming in, and especially the role it's taken in recruiting. Recruiting is just absolutely flipped on its head. Even since I was getting recruited in 2012 and 2013, it's nuts. All that these guys have to manage and be aware of. And, it's a testament to them and their ability to juggle, their identity and their brand and all that good stuff. But it's also a burden in the fact that when you come to Notre Dame, you're a football player at Notre Dame, you already are under the spotlight and people are watching every single thing that you do. Now you put a camera and the ability to communicate with thousands and thousands of people at the press of a button. There's a high level of accountability there, the highest level of accountability. There's no hiding behind what you put out on your social media and all that stuff. So that's definitely something that we're really cognizant of and something that's changed a lot since when I was a player.
Well, that's really good. And you can imagine your day is full with, reinforcing those traits of excellence, that attention to detail, because obviously it has to be there when it comes to, academics, and you're intimately involved on a day-to-day basis and making sure that our guys are, living up to those standards that we have here in the classroom and in, making sure that they're taking advantage of extra work with tutors and study table. And that's, obviously one of the tough roles that you have, in the sense that, you can't allow them, any wiggle room there, because of, if you do, they're going to fall behind here quickly. Mm-hmm. But some of the things that you've also done outside the day-to-day things that go with your role is you brought in some new initiatives. And one of the ones that we're really excited about is the one that you put together in March of this year, and that's the Legacy Network, which is, initiatives to bring former players together. Could you talk to us a little bit about the Legacy Network that you've put together? Absolutely.
It's funny you say that. If you ask me what player development is on 10 different days, you'll probably get 10 different answers.
No doubt.
So it's everything from being a pipeline between our coaches and the players and the academic staff, our SSA staff, to organizing our character development initiatives and programs and our summer program through our Gold Standard program. And probably even my favorite, which is being a professional locker room guy.
And school crossing guard too. Don't forget
that one too. That one too. We've been stopping traffic out there.
Now with COVID, we've used everybody.
No doubt. And
food service.
And food service and snack on Friday nights. That's a big one as well. but, just being one of those guys in the locker room that has been here for a while and a seasoned veteran and somebody they can come to. And, Coach Kelly said this, what did he really mean by that? Help me understand that. Where do I fit into this or that? What's my role? And being able to give that experience to them is probably my favorite piece of it. But like you said, probably our newest initiative and newest branch of player development is really helping manage our pipeline between our former players and our current program and the connection that they have between one another. So we made the Legacy Network, which is it's essentially a platform and an entity that's designed to do exactly that. Our mission is to connect former players with one another and our program. And eventually our goal is to build a community of former players that will be a lifelong network and a lifelong support system after their years at Notre Dame. So we're really excited about it. Like you said, we sort of had a soft launch in March. We started with our former player newsletter, The Link. We've got about 1,000 former players signed up thus far from all over the generational spectrum. We've got guys from the 60s and George Gadecki, and we've got guys who just graduated, and Lincoln Feist. He's taking a big role in it. He's jacked up about it. So it's great, and to be able to connect those guys from years, decades apart is really what we're looking forward to, and it's going to be something that I hope can resonate with the former players and be a really valuable resource for them. We're planning on building a online platform that's sort of a database for all former player information, professional information, what they're doing in their careers, where they're located, what their contact information is, all that good stuff. And it's going to be sort of housed in one centralized hub so that they can find it for one another and find it for people that they don't know and they're looking to network and things like that. So that's in the future plans. We're working on that. Maybe once we get some time here after the season and after COVID and all that good stuff, we'll really be able to dive in on that. But we're excited about it. It's been good. We've gotten great response. I'm getting emails all the time from the former players talking about how great we're doing, how great you're doing and managing this year, and with all that's going into 2020 and how well we're doing. And we've got some really proud former players. So
that's great.
It's going good.
Well, at the core and at the central part of why we do what we do, and certainly you mentioned this earlier, you wear so many hats and have many roles, but at the core of it is really about the player development, and one that speaks to that like no other program is our gold standard. And our development program that we have put together, that you have put together in particular, that we launched a couple of summers ago. And what I think is most revealing about it is it is central not only to football, but it is about Notre Dame. It's about that holistic growth in all areas for the student and the student athlete. And so the mission of the university becomes the mission of our football program as well. And that's why I love this gold standard, because it speaks to who we are and how we are, as we've used this term this year, how we're built differently. Not better, but we're built differently. So why don't you finish up with talking a little bit about and letting the people know about the gold standard.
Yep. So in the name Gold Standard, GOLD is an acronym for growth opportunities and life development, obviously relevant for obvious reasons. But the way I like to think of it as if our program in its entirety is a practice script. You've got 11 on 11, 88s, ST, all those good things. The Gold Standard program is the individual period. It's the fundamentals of how to be a man, how to be a Notre Dame football student athlete, how to live to that standard of excellence that you talk about on a daily basis. And really what it is it's founded in the idea to answer three questions that when I got here were three that I really had no idea about. It's who you are, where you want to go, and how to leave the world a better place. And we try to answer the three questions through this Gold Standard program. We're focused on character development, leadership, our faith, our community involvement and community service. We're really proud of our involvement in the community, career and professionalism, mental health and well-being, and really all those things that go into the making of a Notre Dame man. What does it mean to be a Notre Dame man? What is that standard? and how can I maximize on my opportunity to be at Notre Dame and play football at Notre Dame and be at this special place. So that's really the essence of the gold standard. We've been a little bit limited this year in what we can do, especially getting out and being involved in the community and our summer program and all that good stuff. But we've got big plans for 2021. But it's been a really great program, and with your guidance, and we had a really good blueprint for what this was going to look like from Ron Paulus and his program before he gave me the keys to the car, the player development car. He did a great job in establishing the foundation, and really all I've done is try to maximize on that and make it better. That I think our guys have really bought in well. They enjoy it, and they enjoy hearing those different perspectives, and hopefully they can take at least one thing away, and that makes it a success.
Well, you've done an incredible job of not only handling the many jobs that go with being the director of player development, but enhancing it, as you mentioned, because there's always things that we can look to bring to our players, to not only today's players, but former players, to continue to build the bridge and to talk about what we do on a day-to-day basis. And your work has been outstanding, and we wouldn't be where we are today. So I just want to thank you, and thank you for all the great work that you've been doing and continue to do, and the perspective that you bring as a former player, as a former graduate. You bring a unique perspective that allows us to continue to grow and advance the program as well. So thanks, and thanks for being the acquisition talent director who brings yourself into the picture tonight. The check's in the mail, as we tell all of our guys. But thanks again for being on the show tonight, and I think everybody got a unique look at the role that is so important in the player development role. They see him on the field, but it's the man behind the jersey that is really important to us. So thanks, Hunter, for being on with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Coach Kelly. I appreciate it. This has been great. Looking forward to next week and our future former player catch-ups.
Sounds good. Thanks again, Hunter. Take care.
All right.
Thanks, Coach. This week's Irishography features an Irish walk-on who is accomplishing big things, senior running back Cameron Ekanayaka. That's coming up next, right after this timeout on The Brian Kelly Show, presented by the experts at TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying.
I rally because there's something to be said about doing things as a group, and I think rallying around a mission, rallying around a concept, a goal, brings to fruition much more than something one person can do by himself. I rally around my goal of wanting to help more people in this world.
Cam, what made you apply for the Rhodes Scholarship?
Throughout my time at Notre Dame, I've experienced a lot of great people that really want to help and cause a difference in the world. And I've realized there's no shortage of these people, but these good people are limited by things outside of their reach, whether it's financials or policy or funding. And as I wanting to be a doctor going into surgery, I was offset and put off by this issue of being constrained by something other than your compassion.
What were your emotions when you found out that you were a finalist?
I got the email before a lift, and I actually told Ian this came in. He's known about that I was in the process, and he was like, open it right now. And it was actually in the locker room, and I opened it, and Ian was very happy for me, and all the other guys, once I told them, were very happy for me. They all swarmed me and showed me their appreciation and happiness.
What lasting impact do you want to leave on the world?
My compassion, I want that to be a mark at Notre Dame on the world. I know that I have a drive to help people. Instead of helping this many people, I can help much more and extend my reach to help many more people throughout the world, not just in our country.
Welcome back to The Brian Kelly Show, presented by TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying. You're going to give your players 4 days off beginning tomorrow. What guidance did you give them about what to do with this time?
Well, we're gonna weight train them on Thursday, so I would count that as a work day. But in the old days, we tell them we're gonna give them Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening off. So that counted as 2 days off. Okay. But they're gonna get most of the day Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and just relax and get ready for this stretch drive, because it's going to be a tough one. You've got two of the high-powered offenses in the ACC that you're going to face in North Carolina and Wake Forest, and both on the road. And then we finish up against Syracuse at home. So, a lot of work left for this football team, and this is your time to take a deep breath and get ready for the stretch run.
This program did a magnificent job managing the coronavirus when the students were not on campus this summer. The students leave for a long winter break this weekend and will not return until classes resume in February. Will you try to recreate the bubble for the team that you built in the summer?
Yeah, it'll be very similar. We'll house all those players that are on campus. We'll house them at the Morris Inn. We'll use the Morris Inn as our place for sit-down eating, which we haven't been able to do all year. So the guys will have a sit-down meal for the first time this year, which will be kind of nice. I know that they're looking forward to it. And again, we'll continue to use the same safety procedures and protocols that have been in place, but we'll have a kind of a bubble-like atmosphere here on campus, which is going to be really good and provide a safe atmosphere for our football team.
You are going to face one of your more challenging games of this season when you take on North Carolina on the road the day after Thanksgiving. Carolina ranks first in the ACC in total offense with 563 plus yards per game and is second in scoring at 43 points per game. What does your defense need to do to contain the Tar Heel offense on Thanksgiving Friday?
Well, if you look at them, certainly the first thing is the big chunk plays. I think they're averaging almost 15 yards per pass completion. So if you look at what they do offensively, it's those big plays. And so eliminating the big chunk plays, making them earn it down the field, I think is job one. And again, it's a very, very good offense. They have good players. They have schemes for everything. They're an RPO team that is going to work their run game and their passing game together based upon how you're trying to defend it. And, we'll have to do a great job of keeping them, to minimum gains. They're going to move the football. They're that good. We just got to make sure that they're not the big chunk plays that they've shown most of the year.
You, of course, need to move the football and score as well, but if I remember correctly, you also lead the ACC in time of possession. How important will that be?
Well, keeping them off the field is going to be an important piece of this. So obviously controlling the line of scrimmage for us, running the football will be important. And we're pretty good too at getting some chunk plays too. We're about 13.5 per reception. So, I think it's a little bit of both, right? It's running the football, having control of the line of scrimmage, which is going to be very, very important for us. And certainly, not turning the football over. The team that turns the football over and gives these offenses extra possessions, put yourself in a deficit in a game like this.
Coach, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving and good luck against the Tar Heels.
Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it.
That will do it for this week's edition of the Brian Kelly Show. Coach and I will return in a couple of weeks at this time to break down the game at North Carolina and preview the final home game of the season with Syracuse. Until then, for Coach Kelly, I'm Jack Nolan. Thanks so much for tuning in, and as always, go Irish.